Good morning everyone, welcome to another daily vlog. Today's episode 2 of how I make these daily vlogs, and for that I want to kind of show you my settings on the DJI Pocket 3. Now I'm not recording on the DJI Pocket 3 because I obviously want to show you all of the settings, and I'm recording on the Fuji X-M5, which I will show in the future as well, together with the Sennheiser Wireless Profile 2, which I really love, and I'm currently making a review on those on my main channel, so maybe check out my main channel as well. Now let me turn the camera around and show you all of the settings inside my DJI Pocket 3. Alright, on my case of my DJI Pocket 3, I actually wrote down all of my custom settings. So I have C1 for vlogging, C2 for my studio with fixed white balance, exposure compensation, and I just basically call it cine mode. Then I have C3 for slow motion, C4 for vertical videos, which I rarely use. So now let's go into the settings. So let's go into C1 to just be sure. Now, what I have set this camera to, this is the vlogging mode basically. And in vlogging mode, I have a couple of automatic settings. Let's start with the fixed settings. So first and foremost, I always record my videos in 4K and 24 frames per second because I have a timeline in Adobe Premiere that is about 2.5K. With recording in 4K, although my daily vlogging channel has no edits, on my main channel I obviously do edits, and if I record in 4K and I put in a cut, I can actually kind of move into a close-up without losing resolution. So if you put the 4K file into a 2.5K timeline, you basically shrink down the image and have a resolution and have a smaller resolution. And once you zoom in to make a close-up shot, you basically go to the 4K resolution, more or less. That is a very oversimplified explanation, but again, on my vlogging channel, I actually could go lower in resolution, but I like to keep it at 4K just to be sure if I would edit, I can go down. So basically this setting is the same for my vlogging setting, but also my studio setting. Now, going into my settings here, I have auto white balance. I know some of the vloggers, some people like to keep it at daylight, so 5600. I like to keep it at auto white balance because sometimes I move in a room, sometimes I'm filming outside, so I like to keep it at auto white balance. Exposure I have in manual, so or some manual, some auto. My shutter speed follows the 180-degree rule, meaning if I have a frame rate of 24, I need to double it, so 48, and then use that as my shutter speed. There is no 1/48 shutter speed, so I have to use the closest one, so 1/50. If you would be recording in 30 frames per second, to give you a different example, you take that times 2 and your shutter speed would be 1/60. I don't enter an exposure compensation, but I put my ISO in an automatic mode between 50 to 1600 ISO. But 50 ISO in broad daylight is usually not low enough. So you need to utilize an ND filter if you want to follow the 180 shutter degree rule. You see, 180-degree shutter will lead in a somewhat natural motion blur. You can see this. There is some motion blur in it. My Fuji X-M5 basically has a similar settings, and I want to retain the natural motion blur. You can go higher, obviously, with frame rates and different shutter if it's too bright and you don't have the ND filter, but then everything will be very sharp and result in a very, in my humble opinion, artificial looking image. You want that natural motion blur, in my humble opinion. Then Glamour effects, definitely, in my humble opinion, keep it off because you don't want any skin smoothening on your face. I like to color grade all of my footage, which will be in a future video. That is why I keep it at D-Log M 10-bit. 10-bit gives you much more flexibility for grading, and a log means that all of your picture will be very flat. It doesn't look great if you don't color grade it. If you consider like only filming without any color grading, you can actually switch it to normal in 10-bit or to HLG 10-bit. I would not recommend because this is basically somewhat of a similar look as log, which is very flat. But yeah, I honestly would say if you don't want to grade, keep it at normal. If you're grading, go with D-Log M. Focusing, I keep at continuous focus because yes, this is my vlogging mode. That is why I want it to always kind of have an autofocus. Then sharpness, always with all of my cameras, I put it down to -2, and noise reduction, because I feel with the noise reduction, sometimes the image becomes a little bit muddy, I keep it at 0. And that's basically my vlogging setup. And for audio, I always use the DJI Mic 2 for the best audio quality. I have it at -9 because it is very close to my collar or to my mouth. I always, for simplicity's sake, I attach it, as you can see here in the picture, to my collar, and that is why it's very close to my mouth. So I keep it at -9. I switch off noise reduction because I do that in post, but that's basically it. I don't like to use the internal mics, although they are very good. I rather have really good audio quality, and that is why I use the DJI Mic 2. Now, that was my vlogging setup. If I go into my studio setup, everything stays the same, but I keep my white balance at 5300 because I have studio lights, and I have a set ISO because I control all of the lighting in the studio, so I set it to 200 ISO. Everything else is the same. Sometimes if I need to shoot B-roll, I switch focus mode to single focus, but most of the time it's at continuous. Now, next up is my slow motion setup, which I also use outside. So that is why I have it in some auto modes as well. But first and foremost, 4K, 60 frames per second. And then in the exposure, auto ISO, but also here the 180 degree, and then also here the 180 degree rule, 1/120. So 60 times 2 is 120. So that's the shutter speed, auto white balance, and basically everything else is the same. Now, last but not least, I have the vertical mode. I rarely use this. Truth be told, I never use this, but I wanted to show it to you. It's basically everything is the same, but I put it to 3K, 24 frames per second, and 9:16. So those were all of my settings for the DJI Pocket 3 when I'm vlogging. So again, my vlogging setup is C1. I always keep that in my custom mode so I can quickly switch to those modes. All right, those were my settings, and I would say if you want to check out the video from yesterday about how to start a YouTube video with all of the ideas and stuff like that, watch the video. I think it's here. I'm not really sure. It's somewhere up here or somewhere up here. YouTube thinks that you like the video somewhere down here or here. And don't forget to push the like button, because I just learned that helps the algorithm to kind of know who to promote this video to. And maybe help me to get to 1000 subscribers by clicking the subscribe button somewhere up here. I see you in tomorrow's video. Thank you very much.